Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it out tonight. We gonna let it out tonight. We gonna let it out just like the sunrise. We gonna let it out. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it out tonight. We gonna let it out tonight. We gonna let it out just like the sunrise. We gonna let it out.
It's always perfect timing, isn't it? Hello, hi, welcome in, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? Hopefully, you guys are having a great weekend. Great start to your weekend, anyway. It is the 13th of September. Already almost, oh my gosh, it's almost autumn, isn't it? I don't know where my calendar is. Hold on. I should have, I didn't even think about that. I think autumn, like the first day of fall, I think it falls on like the 19th, isn't it? Or something like that. We're going to check. Yes, the 22nd. So, okay, we got a little bit of time. Breathe it in while you can. I hate when the seasons change. I'm sorry. I'm one of those people. I'm terrible. But my name is Tanya, or Titanium Bill. If you're new to the channel, thanks for joining me tonight. I do appreciate that. And thanks for everybody that's coming in, that's joining me for another live. I appreciate that also. So how's everybody doing? Is everybody having a good day? Let me make sure my speaker or my audio is on the right one. Yeah, it is. Okay. We're good there. Okay. Because for some reason it was messed up a little bit. So I don't know. Someone's been playing to my stuff. I'm just reading the chat. Sorry. I was reading your guys' chats. But welcome in. It's good to see you guys. We'll say hi to some people and then we'll get started. We'll give it a few minutes. We'll let some people get in. We'll let YouTube do its thing. And then we'll get to the live. That's how we roll around here. So we can say the words that we want to say, Look at that, number one. Hey, Ladybug. No new documents that I know of. I checked before the live. I didn't see any. But there's a new podcast. It's my me time, leave me alone channel. Well, that's good, Adriana. I'm so glad. I love that. Everybody leave her alone at home when she's watching me. Hopefully, hopefully I'm not like on a Bluetooth where everyone can hear me. That'd be kind of funny though. Hey, Catherine. If anyone needs me to yell at their kids or something, I could start doing that for like a side gig, you know? You could just be you could put me on the speakerphone and I'll be like, "Timmy, better be doing your chores." Or, "Timmy, you better be doing your homework." I could even get like a voice changer so I could sound like real like cool. We do have a good channel. That's actually why I was a couple minutes late. I was over checking comments, which I'll get to the rest of the comments tomorrow. So if you're watching this on replay or if you're in the chat and you left a comment and I didn't reply, and it's something I should, you think I'd reply to, I'll reply to it tomorrow. But somebody did mention that. They said that they were actually a school teacher and that they love this chat. And I was like, they said that you guys make them feel very welcome. So that made me so happy. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Skylar. We don't usually have anybody. Everyone in here is usually really cool. Hey, Dion. Oh, no. It's late there. Well, it's kind of late here, 9:23. Hey, Dawn. I think it's kind of late anyway. I don't know if I said hey to Catherine, but hey, Catherine. Welcome on in. Hola, baby girl. Hey, Micro Kimmy. Hey, Tony. It's good to see everybody in here. Hey, Maga Mama. Yeah, baby girl was here and then she was gone. I thought she probably fell asleep again. Because I think she was in here, I think, last night. Wasn't it last night? Or was it the night before? I think it was last night. Hey, Reba. Maybe she's sleeping. Hey, kitsy cats. How dare you go to sleep? Hey, Rye. Welcome in. Hey, Purple Daisy. I don't know. I'm gonna say no, Reba. He might have watched the channel. I think he did watch like her thumbnail was on there. I don't know if that means that he necessarily watched the channel or if they were taking screenshots and other channels were being like, at the end of the video, like a bunch will come up. That's what it kind of looked like when I saw him. So I don't know. I know he didn't watch over here though, as far as I know. Hey Zoe, hey Joyce, but I feel like we're sometimes just in our little corner over here. It is almost Libra season. Almost birthday season. Yeah. Yep. That too. That too. Hey Lenora. I don't know if I said hey to Kitsy Cats. I think I did. Hey Crime Kitty. Well, welcome in. It's good to see everyone. You love fall. I don't mind fall, but fall in Ohio, it's about 2 weeks long. And it's goes from this like crispy, like decent weather, 60s, 70s to freezing, in my opinion. I hate it. I hate it so much. I definitely have seasonal depression. Just a little bit. When the sun starts to get on earlier, I feel like I need to be in bed, So if you see me coming on at like 4:00, that's probably why. I never did ask Nancy. I need to ask her. I have like commented on things or not like commented or like, but I like made posts and she's liked them before. But I need to ask her. Oh, that's sweet, Reba. Is it Nunu? Oh, well, hello. Put me on that TV. I haven't been on the TV here before. Yeah. What do you want me to yell at TV about? We used to do this thing. A quick story for you. It was called when my nephew was born, when he got to be old enough, like when he would start acting out just terrible twos and stuff. I mean, it was when he was little, we started it. And I'm like, you don't want to come over to Auntie Tanya's boot camp, do you? Because it's not fun. It's not easy. So let's fast forward. How old was he? Probably 16 years, maybe 17 years. He was literally like about to graduate high school, maybe a junior, senior, maybe sophomore, but very, very like much in his, high school years. And he got in trouble at school. It wasn't, it was his fault. A little boy called him a name that started with an F. And then my nephew reactively flipped him off. So they both got suspended. They got suspended for like 5 days for that. I'm like, what? So he came to stay with me. Of course, we had fun the whole time. But when his mom and dad walked in, and I did not plan this because we did not know when they were coming at all. They came actually a day early because they bought a new car. He was wearing latex gloves in the kitchen. I know, like Brian Koberger. And he was washing the dishes. And my sister-in-law was like, what did you do to him? She's like, he hates latex gloves. He hates the powder in them. And he does not wash dishes. And I'm like, Tanya's boot camp. I think he just wanted to stay with me. Hey, Casey. We went to like a baseball game. We had fun. Hey, Mr. Rosebud. We had a fun time. But it was still my boot camp. Hey, Boone. Boone's up. Mr. Rosebud said, if I'm asleep, I'm forgotten. It's 3:25. Oh my gosh. Thank you for being in here so late. Libra for you too, Zoe? Me too. Same in Jersey. Yeah. The fall weather does. The fall trees are beautiful, but they don't last long enough for me. Casey, I've heard that too before. Like go somewhere sunny or go somewhere nice, and I'm like, I could, I guess. It'll be 50s here too soon. We don't need that daylight savings time in our life. 5:00 and it's you go to work, you wake up, you go to work, right? If you work a regular 9 to 5 or a little like a 7 to 4 or whatever, you wake up and it's dark. You go to work and the sun's just peeking up through the clouds. You're seeing that beautiful sunrise, but at the end of the day, you're seeing the sunset before you get home. Especially like if you're, one of those people have to go to like the grocery or do something after work. He's serious. Hey, Micro Kimmy. I don't know if I said hey to you. Hey, Tracy. Okay, I think I'm down to the bottom. Hey, Joanne. Hey, Monchichi. Oh, you love the cold weather surfing? I did get into my pool one time before they closed it. I didn't know they were going to close it on me as fast as they did, but they did. Hey, Scotty. They really did. I was so mad. But I made myself get in it, and it wasn't like I didn't get in it. I like went like down and then got back up. But yeah, they had the little doggy swim the other day, and I was like, oh yeah, it's done. It's done for me. So Mr. Howard Bloom, because he does the mostest. He wrote an article, and I thought we would start the live with that because it's only a 7-minute read. Thank goodness, because you know how Howard, he'd be doing those 25, 27, 28-minute reads, and it takes like the whole live and every ounce of your sanity. I hope there's nothing like that. I haven't read this yet. I wanted to read it with y'all, and I hope he does not try to put any words in there that are unnecessarily stupid. Are they doing good, Aries? We'll be able to tell here in a minute if Ohio State was doing good. But they're playing Ohio University. And it's so close. And I'm like, aren't they playing Ohio University? And Vincent's like, yes. He never does that. I'm like, that's funny. Like to me, I'm like in here laughing, because I know how it is with football. My dad was a huge Eagles fan, and they never won for the longest time. For the longest of longest times. Okay, so let's get to reading. I got my partners in crime with me. I've got one sleeping. I've got one like looking at the dog like that was supposed to be my bed. But I didn't want to bring both of them in here. So she laid her head down. Oh, she's precious. Okay. If you guys haven't read any of the airmail articles or you haven't heard of them before, Howard Bloom is a writer and he works for them, and he likes to write about the Idaho 4. And I mean, he writes about all kinds of stuff, but he took on this case, as if it was his own case and he was the detective, right? So he wrote all these different airmail articles, and what were they called? This isn't the same name. Like The Eyes of a Killer was one. but they have like 6 or 7 parts anyway to it. But it's on Airmail if you want to get on there. You can subscribe, and I think you can read one article, and then it gets a little costly. But I think you can have like a 7-day trial. But make sure you set an alarm after that 7 days. Hey, Davey. Oh, that's Aries. After I saw the name, I was like, Aries. Are they doing good? I didn't see what you said. Let's go Chiefs. Well, I thought we're saying let's go Michigan. Are we doing anything but let's go 69, 66? Oh, that's too close. That's too close, Aries. That makes me nervous whenever teams are that close. Okay, so this came out actually in July, and I did not know. So we're reading it now. But this is, people will tell you justice and vengeance have nothing in common. They will tell you, thank God for the courts. Hooray for the judges and prosecutors who keep it all on the straight and narrow. But what do they know? They never sent a child off to college only to have them come home in a box. You know what parent said that? Just before dawn, on a still dark wintry morning in December 2023, the long crane of an orange Hitchaki. I don't know how to say that word. Let me see. I don't know how, I know what it is, like the brand, but I've never pronounced it before. Hitachi digger smashed into the 3-story house on King Road in Moscow, Idaho, where a year earlier a masked assailant had slaughtered 4 college students. 90 minutes later, the house was razed to the ground, the rubble loaded into a flatbed truck and carted away. It is time for its removal and to allow the collective healing for our community to continue, University of Idaho President C. Scott Green solemnly explained. The memory of this swift, stealthy demolition popped back into my thoughts with a familiar red-hot anger last week. Only now had I been left reeling by the sudden announcement of a settlement in case CR 01-2403165, State of Idaho versus Brian C. Koberger. On July 2nd, in a Boise courtroom, Judge Stephen Hippler accepted the state's decision to allow the 30-year-old graduate student in criminal justice to plead guilty to the murder of Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. In return, Koberger will spend the rest of his life in jail. If convicted, he would have faced the long guns of a firing squad. Like the demolition of the house on King Road, this decision was a hastily brokered resolution and expedited and coolly pragmatic compromise, and it too offered a deeply unsatisfying ending. The plea deal had been worked out over a summer's weekend just a month before the start of the jury selection for the much-anticipated trial. In the absence of a trial, the case, many perplexities, seemingly illogical events, missteps by law enforcement, mystifying behaviors by surviving witnesses will remain unresolved. Koberger's guilty plea, one terse, indolent recitation of yes for each murdered student, will woefully inadequate, unanswered questions will forever hover around this case. Well, until he writes a book. The trial that wasn't. I admit I never saw this coming. For nearly 3 years, I had waited with mounting impatience as things crept forward as scheduled trial dates. I don't know this word, so we're going to see what it says. Capriciously came and went as motions and counter motions echoed through the courtroom as the state's taxpayers shelled out approximately $3.6 million by April 2024, according to the Idaho Statesman, to keep the legal process meandering along. It was only 3 more months. I don't think that's probably why. But in recent days, I had been buoyed. I felt confident that at last things were heading towards the long-awaited drama of a courtroom battle, but then without a hint of what was taking shape behind closed doors, the plea deal was announced. Yet I realize now that I shouldn't have been surprised. All the signs had always been there. From the get-go, there had been disturbing evidence, and honorable men did not have the stomach for the battle that lay ahead. That all along, the powers that be in Idaho had been itching to move on. Consider, the original trial judge, John Judge, couldn't wait to move the case out of Moscow to Boise. And with that accomplished, he promptly retired. The head of Moscow Police Task Force, who spearheaded the 7-week cross-country investigation, Chief James Fry, teared up on camera when announcing that he'd gotten his man. A couple of months later, he quietly resigned from the department, only to reappear as chief of police in a town in Washington state. Hitler, who predicted a 3-month trial but wound up approving the state's plea offer, had announced on his first day presiding over the case, I'd like to say I'm happy to be here, but why start with an untruth? And then there was the University of Idaho's heavy-handed attempt to bulldoze literally all the horrific memories away with its wishful, out-of-sight, out-of-mind thinking. Nevertheless, the timing of the plea deal still left me baffled. It came in the immediate aftermath of 2 judicial decisions that further tightened the prosecution's controlling grip on events. First, and more consequently, the judge had empathetically dismissed the defense's malicious attempt to suggest that 4 other individuals were the actual perpetrators and that Kohberger was a patsy. The telltale DNA on the knife sheath was indeed his, but the sheath had been planted to incriminate him. They had planned to argue. Wild speculation, the judge fumed dismissively after reviewing the defense's woefully thin evidence. Nothing links these individuals to the homicides or otherwise gives rise to the reasonable inference that they committed the crime, Hitler ruled. Then, in another ominous important for the defense, the judge ruled that Kohberger's alibi, the suspect claimed he had traipsed off alone to the wilderness park at 4 a.m. stargazing on the frigid, cloudy night when the murders had occurred, was not an alibi. He refused to allow the defense to tell this fairy tale to a jury. With less than a month before the jury selection, the scrambling Kohberger team had heaved its 2 final Hail Mary passes, only for both to have been dropped in the end zone. So how did they manage to keep their client from facing a firing squad, a method of execution that the state legislature had recently made law specifically with the killer of the Idaho students in mind? I want to say this. They did not change up everything to the firing squad because of Kohberger. Okay? There's 9 other people on death row. I hate when people say that. They did not do that for Kohberger. I mean, the dude wouldn't have been executed probably for 40 years. That's how long the other guy lasted on death row. I mean, I hate when they say that. I'm like, that makes no sense. They're going to spend $3 million or whatever it was on that firing squad just for Brian. They already spent $3.6 million on him. They might as well. So how did they manage to keep their client from facing a firing squad, a method of execution that the state legislative had recently made law specifically with the killer of the Idaho students in mind? And why had the prosecution, victory within its grasp, stopped playing as the 4th quarter commenced? Why had they suddenly walked off the field? As I poked around, here's what I discovered. In recent months, according to the people I spoke with, Ann Taylor, the canny legal aid lawyer who headed the Kohberger defense team, had apparently come around to the demoralizing realization that her client was guilty. And after a trial, Kohberger would almost certainly be convicted and sentenced to death. So resigned, she set out to save Kohberger's life. When she first approached the graduate student about a plea deal that would prevent his execution, sources tell me that Kohberger weighed it purposefully in his mind. And then he telephoned his 65-year-old mother, Mary Ann. I could see that. She vehemently opposed the possibility. Why? Perhaps she believed in her son's innocence. Or maybe she just didn't want to confront the certain hell that would accompany the recognition of her son's guilt. What can I state with authority? What I can state with authority is that she's convinced her son to hang in there and to proceed to trial with his head held high. So what changed? Early in May, NBC's Dateline aired a 2-hour episode on the case, for which I had done a minor bit of investigative digging and had also appeared as a talking head. One of the show's most explosive revelations was the existence of a 54-minute call Kohberger had made at about 6 a.m., less than 2 hours after the murders had occurred, to a phone registered to his 70-year-old father. Only Kohberger and whoever he spoke with know what was said. However, sources familiar with the evidence believe he spoke largely with his mother for nearly an hour, after which he returned to the vicinity of the King Road house and later posed for his infamous thumbs-up selfie. After the Dateline special made headlines, the family focused for the first time on the now certain knowledge that the prosecution also knew about the lengthy call. Suddenly, it seemed inevitable that Michael and Marianne Kohberger would be put on the stand. They would be compelled under oath to reveal what they discussed in that early morning conversation. Michael would also have to testify about what he had discussed with his son as they drove cross-country heading home from Washington State to Pennsylvania for the Christmas holidays about a month after the murders. And so with the trial at least growing closer and closer and the defense's final 2 desperate strategies ruled non-starters, Taylor once again begged her client to take a deal. And this time, according to what I heard, when Kohberger conferred with his parents, they allegedly brought up that their futures would be on the line too in a trial. Okay. That threw Kohberger through a loop. He fell into a state of near panic. He didn't, as it was explained to me, feel anything that might resemble guilt. But in his complicated or irrational way, he did feel something akin to a measure of remorse towards his parents. And no small matter, if a deal could be negotiated, his life would be spared. He gave Taylor permission to approach Bill Thompson, the Latah County prosecutor, and Thompson jumped at the chance. Why? With both the prosecution and the defense bound by a gag order, I can only speculate, but here's an informed guess. Trials every veteran prosecutor has learned the hard way are always a throw of the dice. You never know for sure if something new is going to come up, what's going to land or fall flat with the jury, what prejudices or preconceived notions will color each jury's interpretation of the facts. No case is ever a sure thing. So those concerns, as I see it, helped shape his thoughts. But I think his decision was ultimately forged by something more fundamental. Thompson no longer had the will. After the past 2.5 years of immersing himself day after disparaging day, to this sickening tragedy, he had enough. Maybe he just wanted to spend the summer fishing. Or playing the guitar. That's what he does. I don't know if he fishes. Final questions. Okay, so I guess these are his final questions. Where did this leave the parents of the murdered children? Oh, I guess he answers his own questions. No judicial resolution could have sprung them for the life sentences they are serving. Still, the parents, or at least those who have chosen to share their thoughts, seem pretty much divided into 2 opposing factions. One group argues with reason, let us get on with our lives and try to heal. The other argues with equal reason, we need answers, we need to know why this happened. Yet, should the opportunity ever come, what questions should be posed to Kohberger? Let me suggest a few. Okay, these are his questions. Why did you choose that victim or target over others? Did you prepare for the crime before leaving home? This sounds like his freaking survey. How did you approach the victim or target? After arriving, what steps did you take locating the victim or target? After committing the crime, what were you thinking and feeling? How did you leave the scene? How was your life right before the crime? These questions, in fact, might have a familiar ring. They are the ones Kohlberger, I thought it sounded like it, then studying for his master's degree in criminal justice at DeSales University, had posted on Reddit with the hope that they would attract the attention and cooperation of bored convicts whose ranks he would soon join. Maybe we should send him a letter with these. And the answers would also explain how Brian Kohlberger, even before he knew it existed, was on his way to the house on King Road. And then we did actually read his book too, When the Night Comes Falling, on this channel. If you guys didn't know that, we did. And thanks to everybody for being here. If you guys don't mind, I forgot to ask you in the beginning, will you hit the like button for me? And I also forgot to tell you guys in the beginning as well, if you would like to become a member of our channel, we would love that so much. We'd love to have everybody become a member. So if you could become a member, that'd be great. I'll put the link in the chat, and then I'll post it to the top of the chat. That way, if you guys decide throughout the live that you want to become a member, you'll have that. Okay. And hey, DM. Good night, Kathy. And if I missed something, I'm sorry, I didn't see the chat, so. DM Catherine, how many joints are going around the chat? Yeah, he didn't want his parents involved. I could see that. I could see that. I will say that I know that like family's important everywhere, like no matter where you are, but I know that like families, what were they calling, like considering them, where like, you know, multiple families like live in the same house, which they didn't do that. Maybe a sister did, but multifamily, they were calling it. I know that they are very family oriented, and they're very like cutthroat about their family members. You know what I mean? Like, you just don't mess with them. And so I think that too. I think that he was afraid that his mom and dad would have to take the stand. And maybe if his mom and dad had to take the stand, maybe he was thinking in his head, like, what if something happens and they have like a heart attack because they're up there and they're like answering these questions, you know what I mean? These unbelievable questions. And they probably would have had to talk about Brian's childhood growing up. Yeah, because they're not held by like they're not married, so they're not held by anything. So they, I think that he was. I think the same thing. I think that he was trying to get his parents out of having to testify and having to go out there. I think he thought maybe in the long run that would ruin their life more than if he just, you know, said that he was guilty, in my opinion. So let me pull this up. I did put one up today, and there's like new interviews in that one. So if you guys haven't watched it, make sure you do. It's over the sentencing, but it doesn't, I mean, it talks about the sentencing and stuff, but it talks more about like with the family members and with like the new interviews and stuff. So I thought it was pretty good. Actually, it's called The Plea Deal, I think. Wait, is it sentencing? Maybe I put, nope. Okay. I didn't. I thought I played the wrong one. The Plea Deal. That's the one. And it was just from this afternoon. So. Yeah, that could be. He'd want to testify against him. Yeah. Okay. So let me get this up here for us. And I will put up some overlays. That way you guys have we all have like something to look at while we're watching. But they're going to talk to Police Chief Gary Jenkins in this one. And he's the Washington State University police officer. I think we watched something on him on like Law and Crime or something like that. I believe it was Law and Crime. And he talks about like, he was talking to his buddy, his drinking buddy, about Brian Kohlberger. So I think that's the same guy. But I'll put up some like overlays, like I said. Thanks for being here. Like I said again, I appreciate you. And let's play this. Is it up? Okay. Just want to make sure it was up on your side. My dog's snoring loud.
Through that conversation, he asked her, what do you think the worst way to die is?
The autopsy revealed that she fought like hellcat to try to get this guy off of her.
He thinks he's smarter than these cops, and he's going to figure out what they know prior to this interrogation happening.
So they sit me down and they tell me that they have identified a lead suspect in the case and that he is a graduate student at Washington State University. When I made the connection, the hair on the back of my neck kind of stood up.
This is the Idaho Massacre, a production of KT Studios and iHeartRadio. Season 3, Episode 4, The Interview. I'm Courtney Armstrong, a producer at KT Studios with Stephanie Leidiger and Gabriel Castillo. After Brian Koberger was sentenced to 4 consecutive life terms for the brutal November 2022 murders of Madison Mogen, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, new information has continued to emerge about his strange and unsettling past. From massive document dumps to witnesses stepping forward with stories to former acquaintances describing their encounters with him, each new detail is helping to fill in the gaps and paint a more clear, haunting picture of who this man really is. Washington State University Police Chief Gary Jenkins crossed paths with Brian Koberger before his name made headlines. His first encounter with Brian Koberger, long before the arrest, is as unexpected as it is chilling. Here's Gary Jenkins filling us in on his career and his bizarre meeting with one of Idaho's most notorious killers. He's joined by our producer, Allison Bankston.
I started my law enforcement career in Southern California. I worked for 33 years in the LA County area. And then in 2010, I was hired as the police chief for the city of Pullman, Washington, where Washington State University is located. I worked as the police chief for the city of Pullman Police Department for 12 years. And then I was hired as the police chief at Washington State University 3 years ago. We are really a tight-knit community here. We're somewhat isolated. We're about 8 miles from Moscow, Idaho. So we're pretty close, and our communities work together a lot. But besides that, the next closest medium-sized city is Spokane, Washington, an hour and a half away. So we really depend on each other a lot, and the communities really work together well, a lot out of necessity.
How did you first find out what had happened on November 13th, 2022? Can you take me back to that day and when you got the call and what you were first initially thinking?
Well, my assistant chief messaged me and said that they heard that Moscow had responded to a location in their city and they had 4 people that were dead. And we didn't know any more beyond that. We didn't know if it was an accidental from carbon monoxide or what had happened. And then I did hear that they did announce that it was a homicide, a quadruple homicide. So I got on the phone and called Chief Fry at Moscow PD, his cell phone, and offered any kind of assistance that our department could give him. And he was actually on his way back to the city. He was out of town, but he was driving back to Moscow. And he said, thank me for the offer, and that once he got there and assessed what was going on, he'd let me know if he needed any help. And turned out he didn't call us back. They ended up calling in a lot of resources from Idaho. Of course, they're across the state line from us, from Washington. But that's what happened on that day. And then University of Idaho sent out what they call a vandal alert to alert the campus what had happened. And then we did the same thing on Washington State University campus. We sent out an alert notifying everyone that there had been a homicide in Moscow, and the person that had committed the crimes was still on the loose.
And I think of people in your position, being the chief of police at WSU, when this huge college-related murders are going on, that's so much pressure. And I'm sure you had a lot of people coming to you looking for answers. How do you keep cool in situations like that? And how do you keep emotions down when there's something this scary going on?
There's a lot of things that we have to get done quickly. And so we get pretty focused on those details and trying to get that done. And so I think that kind of keeps our mind, focused in the right direction. And we definitely did a lot of communication with our students on campus, along with our Dean of Students office and our counseling and psychological services. We worked at trying to keep our campus calm. We stepped up our patrols to increase our police visibility on campus. And this case was particularly challenging because Moscow PD was very tight-lipped on the information that they were sharing. And so we could only pass along what we would hear from them. So we would just try to communicate that information, as well as, just trying to give our campus confidence that we were keeping an eye on things and that we were doing everything that we can to keep our campus safe.
"36 days after the murder, Chief Jenkins gets an update on the status of the investigation from Moscow Police Chief James Fry.
Chief Fry sent me a text message on December 19th asking if I could meet him at the Moscow Police Department the next morning. And I thought it was just going to be another law enforcement briefing. They had held a couple of law enforcement briefings previously. And so I met him the next morning, and it was just me meeting him there. And so I thought that was kind of unusual. And then he took me upstairs, and we went into a room that had the entire investigative team there, but 30 plus people. So I knew right away that there was something significant happening and had some kind of connection likely to Washington State University. So they sit me down and they tell me that they have identified a lead suspect in the case, and that he is a graduate student at Washington State University living in graduate student housing on campus. The name sounded familiar to me. When I made the connection, the hair on the back of my neck stood up. They tell me that they have identified a lead suspect in the case, and his name is Brian Koberger. That's not a very common name. I recall hearing it before, and it took me about 30 seconds really to make the connection that I had interviewed him previously when I worked at the Pullman Police Department.
In April of 2022, months before the murders, Brian Koberger was still wrapping up his master's degree at DeSales University and getting ready to start his PhD program at Washington State University. Around that time, he submitted an application for an internship at the Pullman Police Department.
When I was police chief at the city of Pullman, we had a program that we worked with the Washington State University Criminal Justice Program, where a PhD student would spend 3 years as a research assistant at the police department. At the time, I think we were wanted some research done on having our own municipal court there in Pullman, which we did not have. We were using the county. So that was some of the research we wanted done, and just also on looking at crime trends and seeing if we needed to reallocate resources to different places based on current crime trends and those types of things. I was given 4 applications from Washington State Criminal Justice Program. So I interviewed each of the 4 applicants for about 30 minutes each. 2 main things I was looking for from those applicants. One was someone who was interested not just in theoretical research, but really practical, actionable research that we could implement in our department to make us more effective. And then the other element I was looking for was someone who had the ability to develop trust and rapport with my staff. Someone coming in to a law enforcement environment that's not law enforcement, sometimes that's a very difficult situation to develop that trust and rapport. I was asking, what kind of research they've done already, what their particular interests are, what they're looking to get out of the program, those types of things. And so when I interviewed Brian Koberger, he answered the questions okay. It was a little bit robotic, I think, and I kind of picked up that he didn't have that much interest in necessary the type of research we were looking for. Again, and I think it was more theoretical. I know he had a lot of interest in the mind of criminals and why they do what they do and how they're feeling when they do what they do. And I don't know that would have been really beneficial to our department.
Yeah, because these cops, they just are there to arrest these bad guys. They're not the behavioral analysis unit, Koberger.
Were you surprised he even applied? Because I know at DeSales, he was kind of really focused in on the criminal mind, and it seems like this internship is totally different. Why would he apply for an internship that wasn't really in his wheelhouse?
I think really he wanted to see how police departments operate. I think he wanted to get that experience working with a law enforcement agency to, just to add to his resume. So it was a little bit out of what his interest seemed to be. At the end of the 30 minutes, I know my impressions were that he wasn't real personable. He didn't have a real fluid way of conversation. He spoke with some hesitation. He was very awkward, didn't seem to have very refined social skills. And so at the end of it, I just didn't feel like he would be able to develop that trust with my staff to be an effective researcher.
Couldn't trust him.
Finding out what he did you ever think, did he apply to this internship to save himself? Brian Koberger here, he's applying to a big internship at a police station, not really interested in the stuff that you're offering. Did you ever think that maybe he applied as some sort of cover-up or to get intel?
Yeah, I think that's definitely possible. I mean, I don't think we'll ever know when he planned these crimes, but if it was something that maybe he had been thinking about, that's very possible that he was trying to get into the police department to potentially have access to confidential information or just to learn more about practices and protocols of law enforcement that would help him commit the quote perfect crime. And so yes, I did think about that, and the more I thought about that, the more I was glad that I decided not to select him.
After Washington State University Police Chief Gary Jenkins realized he'd met Brian Koberger before, he didn't hesitate. He turned to Moscow Police Chief James Fry and told him exactly what he knew. 10 days later, officers from Washington State University joined the Idaho State Police in a coordinated search of Koberger's campus apartment and his office.
Really nothing of any significance was recovered from either location. His apartment, my assistant chief actually oversaw that warrant service, and she reported back to me that there was very little in his apartment at the time. In fact, it looked like that maybe someone was that Koberger was not planning to come back to that apartment.
Yeah, and I heard too that his shower curtain was missing, and there's only a few things of clothing there. And I know some people think that the shower curtain could have been involved in some way.
Yeah, I mean that could have been. It could have been that there was some clothing or some evidence that he may be wrapped up in there, and he took a shower, and there could have been blood or DNA on that, and so it's very likely that was disposed of somewhere to avoid leaving any type of evidence.
Let's stop here for a break.
So, okay, I have a question about the shower curtain thing, because if he threw the shower curtain away the next morning with his stuff, that means did he just not take a shower for a month before his dad came? Or did he buy another shower curtain and then he threw that one away too? Because, well, maybe he did. Maybe he threw the second one away as well because he thought maybe there could have been some evidence on that, that maybe came off him later. So, I don't know. How many shower curtains did you have, Koberger? We need to know that question.
We'll be back in a moment. We've been exploring Brian Koberger's time at Washington State University, starting with a strange interview he had with Chief Gary Jenkins while applying for an internship at the Pullman Police Department. But his unusual behavior on campus did not end there. Crime analyst Body Movin, an expert in analyzing complex data, is here to walk us through more of the recently released documents from the massive evidence dump following Koberger's sentencing to life in prison. This time, we're zeroing in on some of the records detailing his behavior at WSU. Here's Body, joined by our producer, Allison Bankston.
So let's talk about that interview with his fellow teaching assistant, because honestly, I'm floored by that.
That one is that document in its entirety is so interesting to me. So in this document, it's an interview with somebody that worked with Brian Koberger at WSU. it talks about Brian as a TA assistant and his relationship with Brian. And he goes on to say that somewhere in October or November, he couldn't remember, he sees scratches on Brian's face and his knuckles were red. When he asked Brian Koberger, what happened? What happened to you? Brian said he was in a car accident.
Right. And his fellow teaching assistant also says that the scratches looked like they were from fingernails. I'm no expert, but what car crash causes a scratch like that?
We asked forensic expert Joseph Scott Morgan about the validity of Brian Koberger's excuse for.
He was in a car accident. And what car? His car's fine. Oh my goodness.
The scratches on his face shortly after the murders.
Yeah, you do get scratches in a car accident, but you know what you get more of? You get more blunt force trauma. The idea that you would merely get scratches in a location, and that's odd to say. My money would be on Kaylee, who made scratches, because the autopsy revealed that she fought like a Hellcat.
I will say that. Okay, hold on. I'm just going to say that. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. You can get in a severe car accident and walk away with. Oh, okay. Let's say you can get in a severe car accident and one person can be on death's door and the other person can walk away from the accident with a seatbelt burn and 3 stitches to the kneecap. It's a little deeper than a scratch, but it is possible.
To try to get this guy off of her.
Right? And I feel like he would have a lot more injuries if it truly was a car accident.
But I don't believe him.
So ridiculous, you know.
I still don't believe him.
Because I'd want to say, well, where else are you injured? And do you need a ride? Can I give you a ride somewhere? Because obviously, if you've been in a car accident, your car must be damaged. Well, guess what? There's no indication his car was damaged in any way.
Yeah, I feel like, again, this goes back to him being such a strange criminology student because his mistakes are so stupid, but he could have said that a cat scratched him and it would have been way more believable.
Yeah, I would have bought that. Yeah, God, this cat, you know, I love cats.
Car accident.
There's a stray cat that came up to the door. I got a can of tuna fish in the apartment. I went to feed it, and I was trying to pet it while I was eating, and the thing attacked me. Okay, that sounds plausible to me. Car accident?
That's kind of a long story, though.
Here again, Body Movin' with producer Allison Bankston.
And then we find out that Brian told him, the TA assistant, he was flying home from Washington to Pennsylvania, when in fact we knew he drove, and he was already there when he told his friend this. He's lying. He's a lying liar.
You lying liar that lies.
And the newly released documents reveal even more troubling details about Brian Koberger's initial arrest.
This is the reason why he never smiled or talked. Did you all see his teeth when he smiled? I don't think we need to recap that. I think I have the picture somewhere, but handy. But you know what they look like. Yeah, that's why he wasn't talking. He wasn't saying nothing. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
In his home state of Pennsylvania,
That
the
poor
moment
kid.
he first came face to face with investigators who had been tracking him for weeks. One of interest to us, an unsettling report written by Moscow Police Corporal Brett Payne about Koberger's interview after his arrest.
And with Brett Payne is ISP Detective Sergeant Gilbertson, and he's with the Idaho State Police. And additional to that, FBI Special Agent Shirley.
Right. And what was so weird to me was that he starts off the interview saying that Sergeant Gilbertson looks familiar, which I don't know. I mean, it kind of seems like a super stupid move on his part.
It indicates he's been watching news about this case, right? Because Detective Gilbertson is, of course, with the Idaho State Police. And of course, he would be talking about this in the media or at these press conferences, and Brian Koberger is watching these. So that's, of course, why he says this. Oh, yeah, you do look familiar. What a dummy.
Yeah, and then he starts implying that he really admires law enforcement, has a great admiration for everything these officers are doing.
He's really kind of buttering them up. Like, I'm one of you. They're asking about his studies, and he's like, oh, you guys already probably know all this, implying that, they went to criminology school too, when of course that's not true. Like, he's very trying to make himself like one of them, right? They're talking about sports, they're talking about religion. Brian Koberger says that he was raised Christian and, he was basically having doubts when he's, confronted with the beauty of this world. Like, it's so weird. It's such a weird conversation.
I know. I just think it's odd that he brought up it because,
weird
again, he
dude.
didn't have to. Small talk usually, like, they talked a little bit about, he said, oh, I don't follow WSU football because I'm a baseball fan. But then to bring up religion out of nowhere, it's like, is he trying to humanize himself? But then he says, but I have doubts. He's like, oddly, he kind of goes in this weird circle with it. What else does he say in this interview?
Kohberger then spoke about how he became interested in criminal justice and stated he thought about being a police officer but did not want to make the commitment unless he was absolutely sure. Interesting, because he applied to the Pullman Police Department. And he's telling these police officers, oh, I thought about being a cop, but I just, I'm not sure about the commitment. What do you mean a commitment? It's a job. If you don't like it, you quit. What commitment are you talking about? It's very, very weird. Again, he's trying to, I think, ingratiate himself into this law enforcement family, which he is no part of, by the way. But he's trying to insert himself, I'm just like you. I'm one of you.
Exactly, yeah. And earlier we were talking to
There he is.
WSU Police Chief Gary.
He's with them. He's with the cops there. So, technically he's kind of like one of the boys. They're surrounding him, taking him back to a cell, but he's technically with the cops.
Jenkins about his interview with Bryan Kohberger. And, he said he didn't trust him at all to blend in with his staff. And, rightfully so. And here he is putting on what seems like some crazy performance with these officers in Pennsylvania, probably very untrustworthy. What does he do after this in this interview?
Kohberger then stated he understood why they were engaging in small talk, but it would appreciate it if we explained to him what he was doing there. And the detective goes, well, why do you think you're here? And Bryan Kohberger said he didn't know. Detective Gilbertson asked Kohberger if he watched the news. Kohberger said, I watched the news. Detective Gilbertson then asked Kohberger why he thought I looked familiar. So why do you think I look familiar? Kohberger said he wasn't sure and stated I had a familiar face and I looked like someone he used to know. Detective Gilbertson then said we were there because of what happened in November just off the University of Idaho campus. Detective Gilbertson asked Kohberger if he knew what that was, to which Kohberger replied, of course. When prompted to elaborate, Kohberger said it was the incident we had been investigating for, how long has it been?
Okay, it's insane to me that he says, how long has it been? It almost kind of seems like a pride thing to me. Of course, I'm no expert, but there's such a certain cockiness to it, just from the way that I'm reading it.
Right. Detective Gilbertson again stated we were investigating the homicides of 4 students and that we had questions and things we'd hoped Kohberger would help understand. So this conversation is interesting because Kohberger, is it okay if we engage in small talk? And the cops are like, yeah. They start engaging in small talk and Brian's getting impatient, right? He's hoping something's going to slip in this small talk, I think. He's trying to size up these cops. He thinks he's smarter than these cops and he's going to figure out what they know prior to this interrogation happening.
Right.
That's what I think. Kohberger then asked where his parents were and where his dog was. Kohberger re-engaged again and asked what questions we would have for him. Detective Gilbertson then asked Kohberger again if he understood his rights and asked specifically what Kohberger wished. Kohberger asked what specifically he wanted to talk to him about. So they're playing this game right now. Kohberger's asked for a lawyer. So Detective Gilbertson's like, okay, the interview's over. But Kohberger keeps re-engaging, right? So the detective's like, listen,
curious.
You understand your rights, right? What do you want? Kohberger asked specifically what we wanted to talk to him about and the reason. I told Kohberger he invoked his Fifth Amendment rights at that moment, and we were no longer going to be asking him any further questions. So Kohberger, he's fishing. He's trying to find out what they've got. It's interesting.
Let's stop here for a break. We'll be back in a moment. We've been digging through some of the most revealing files from the Moscow Police Department's massive document release, focusing specifically on those that shed light on the strange and sometimes bizarre behaviors of convicted killer Bryan Kohberger in the days and weeks after the murders. In these pages, we see how Kohberger attempted to explain away suspicious injuries, from a bloody knuckle to scratches on his face, telling his fellow teaching assistant that it came from a car accident. This excuse now reads as obviously false. We also get a glimpse into his first formal interactions with investigators following his December 30th, 2022 arrest in Pennsylvania. Moments that offer a window into his state of mind as the case closed in around him. Here again to discuss one more document of interest is crime analyst Body Movin'.
So in these documents, there's a Tinder reference, and that a woman met Brian Koberger online, and that he was at WSU and she was in Pennsylvania, and she was having a hard time meeting people, so she expanded her range, and she ended up meeting Brian Koberger. He and her struck up a conversation, and in their small talk, we're talking about like their favorite movies, things that you would talk to people when you're first getting to know someone. And the genre switched to horror movies. And through that conversation, he asked her, what do you think the worst way to die is? And she said, probably from like a knife. That would be awful. And he said, oh, something like a K-bar. And she stopped talking to him shortly after that because the conversation turned pretty dark. We learned in a later document, however, the cops followed up with her and she couldn't, provide them any proof that she had talked to anybody at WSU. She didn't have access to her Tinder messages anymore. So we don't get any clarification on that. And it could be just noise. It could be totally irrelevant, but it's an interesting talking point. Creepy, 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 creepy.
Throughout this season, we'll keep digging into these documents piece by piece to uncover what they reveal, what they suggest, and what they can tell us about how Brian Koberger took 4 innocent lives. Next time, behavior expert Robin Dreek will help us unpack documents detailing Koberger's behavior before and after the murders, and the personality traits that may have driven him. Because sometimes the paper trail reveals more than the killer intended. More on that next time.
Isn't that the truth?
For more info.
Okay. Let me get everything taken down over here. Get the picture up there. There we go. There we go. There I am. I was just reading the chat. Okay. Let me pin this. There was some other stuff, but there's really not there was some other stuff I was going to show you, but I might save it. Well, maybe not. Let me see. Pin that. Oh, I did want to go over this this stuff with you guys. I was reading this article earlier, and I thought it was pretty interesting. It was just about the evidence that they kind of had collected against Brian Koberger. I've never really heard of this place before, but it seemed like the facts were true. So that was what matters. But they're going to talk about the genetic genealogists that have come forward from Cellbrite, and they've been talking to everybody. That gag order got lifted, and it seems like a lot of people are coming out of the woodwork, right? So they're going to talk about them and what they kind of found, and then other things that was found during the the investigation. But it says genetic genealogist revealed. So this is the genetic genealogist. Never mind. They revealed that groundbreaking DNA evidence. This isn't Cellbrite. This is the Middletons. It says revealed that groundbreaking DNA evidence was central to swiftly identifying and capturing Brian Koberger, the man who murdered 4 University of Idaho students. This unprecedented evidence not only expedited the investigation, but also raised critical questions about crime scene forensics and investigative techniques. So then it goes to the knife sheath. The quadruple murder, which occurred on November 13th, 2022 in Moscow, Idaho, claimed the lives of Ethan Chapin, 20, Xander Kernodle, 20, Kaylee Gonzalez, 21, and Madison Mogan, 21. The chilling details resonated deeply within the community and beyond, igniting widespread fear and an urgency for justice. David Middleman, the founder and CEO of Othram, a company specializing in forensic genetic genealogy, claimed it was a catastrophic deal. of evidence left behind at the crime scene. So there was a lot more DNA left on the knife sheath, just on the knife sheath. That's the only place that Brian left his DNA. But it wasn't just like 1 or 2 skin cells that people were saying this whole time. And I was saying that was not it. And I was getting in fights with people 2 years ago about that crap. And I was trying to explain to them that it wasn't, transfer. It wasn't an arm touch or whatever, like that they were making it out to be, where it was like that he touched somebody and then, or, somebody touched him, or he touched somebody and then they touched the knife or the knife sheath. It was like, no, like he directly touched it. And he left a lot of his skin cells on there. So I don't know if the dude was sweating when he was like, maybe he was nervous when he did it. Maybe it was the night of the homicides. I was thinking it happened when he was like cleaning it and preparing it, but maybe not. Maybe it was like, because I wonder how you would get like how much how much DNA they had. I wonder how you would get that amount. Just by, handling the button snap. And I don't know how, maybe he sat there and he played with it and, did something stupid like that. But it says that they talked about it at the crime con, and Middleman's elaborated on how the DNA sample discovered on a K-bar knife sheath discarded at the scene provided hundreds of times more genetic material than typical cases. This wealth of DNA allowed investigators to rapidly trace Kohberger's lineage and identify him as a suspect. And I think that the reason that being was because they said that the DNA was so new, like so fresh when they got it, that a lot of the samples that they get, they're from old cases. So they've been degraded and stuff like that, or they've been used a lot of, they could still only need a little bit to test it, but they might have used a lot of the sample. So tons of DNA. Early leads from the genetic analysis revealed that the DNA came from a multi-generational American family intertwined with Italian ancestry. According to Middleman, this evidence was more significant than mere traces. The DNA evidence was amazing. There was tons of DNA, he said. Law enforcement then began tracking Kohberger, who at the time was a Washington State University criminology doctoral student in Pullman, Washington, a mere 10 miles from Moscow. His vehicle, a white Hyundai Elantra, matched a description of the suspect's car, intensifying the urgency. Despite the absence of a murder weapon, the sheath's DNA profile proved critical, paving the way for detectives to pinpoint him as their prime suspect. He didn't do a very good job covering your tracks. Clues in his Amazon purchase history. After the case received national media coverage, authorities prepared to conduct a search of Kohberger's family home in Pennsylvania's Pocono Mountains. In a swift move, investigators obtained a search warrant for Kohberger's Amazon purchases, uncovering an alarming detail. He had recently bought a K-bar knife, complete with sheath and sharpening tool. This critical piece of evidence linked him directly to the crime scene. Middleman's team worked diligently to formulate a complete DNA profile within just 48 hours of receiving the sample, a considerable feat in forensic genealogy. By December 19th, 2022, the FBI had alerted Moscow police to Kohberger's identity, resulting in his arrest just days later. It wasn't just days later, it was 11 days later. Without the DNA evidence, there were numerous leads regarding Hyundai Elantras, but we don't know how long it would have taken. A detective shared post-arrest. Yeah, I don't know if they would have got him if they went this route. Really. Because his DNA wasn't in any system, so he would have had to have gotten to the system somehow. Wouldn't it have been some crazy just an experience if, let's say he thought he got away with this, and then he got like a teaching position or whatever, and he was teaching and I don't know, his case just came up, and then his DNA sample or whatever was in the CODA system from this case, from the Idaho 4 case, and then say because he's a professor, they're like, oh, we just need your DNA, we had to put it in the system. Just I don't know, right? I know it doesn't happen, but let's just say it did. And then they caught him like that would have been some stuff. That would have been some stuff. Either way, I think he would have been caught. He might have been some years down the road, but I think he would have been caught. Kohlberger was ultimately charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary. In a surprising twist, he pled guilty in July 2025 in an effort to avoid the death penalty, opting instead for 4 consecutive life sentences, along with an additional 10 years. His legal team has unsuccessfully sought to have the DNA evidence dismissed, a move that ultimately solidified the prosecution's case. Kristen Middleman, the chief development officer at Othram, called for broader applications of genetic genealogy in criminal investigations. We are advocating for the families to change that, to make sure that people have access to this real time, so that people like Kohlberger are caught before they commit that next crime, she said. I am certain that there's someone at Thanksgiving with their family this year. Last year, they wouldn't be if Brian Kohlberger wasn't caught in real time. So she thinks he would have done it again. Okay. There's this little Siamese twins or conjoined twins. Did you hear about that? I didn't have that up. Sorry. I thought it was up. I just read all that and I didn't even have it up for y'all. That's fine. That's fine. It was only a little article. It wasn't that much. I thought I had it up, but I took the podcast down and I didn't put it back up. Oh, that's fine. I wanted to read to you guys and I didn't want you to see anything. I didn't want you to have to see pictures of Brian Kohlberger anymore. So if he was going to be he would have been fingerprinted. They could have said this is a new thing that we do with, DNA. I mean, I'm just saying it would have been wow. You know what I mean? One of those moments, kind of like with the Golden State Killer. I mean, he was out and about for 40 some years or something like that. And they caught him. Can you imagine someone coming up to your doorstep after you murdered someone 50 years ago? I love it. I love it. Just like, that case that comes to mind is the priest guy. He murdered the girl that was going to she was going to mass or something, and I don't know, he killed her, but he didn't get caught for 60 years or something like that. I forget how they caught that guy. I think that they knew it was him the whole time, but maybe I don't know. I forget that guy's name. Do you remember who I'm talking about? The priest? He was a priest or a father priest. I'm trying to think of his name. I bet if I look it up, I bet it'll come up if I just type in. I remember the girl was really pretty. Right here. Irene Gard. Yeah, this one, I think. John Fight. Let's see. Wow, look at this. And look how pretty. Okay. This is her. And this happened in, see if I can look that up. She disappeared after going to confession. Yeah, okay. Not April 16th, 1960. And they caught him. He was found guilty in December 2017. And then he died in prison in 2020. But this is what he looked like before, when he did it, and then when they caught him. Wait, let me put it up for you. Look at this. So when they caught him, he was that old. And let me show you the girl again, because I thought I had it up. Her name's Irene Garza. Very pretty. Look at that old picture. It's probably of her dad in the background. That's such a 60s house, 50s house. Well, Kohlberger. Well, we know that he's not telling on any more inmates, as far as we know. But we haven't had anything come out, like no jail or no letters from the prison. But I think that there'll be more things that come out, definitely. I know that the families are in like a legal dispute right now. They don't want any, more crime scene photos put out. I know that they put out documents after that started. So they may come out with some more documents without having a verdict or whatever for the whole crime scene photos. Now, I think that they're probably going to release them. I mean, I don't know how. It's hard to know, because it's like a First Amendment right to to be able to for people to be able to see them and study the case, or research it if they're especially if they're doing journalism or something like that and they're writing a piece for it. But I mean, I personally don't need to see them. But at the same time, it's kind of I understand why the news organizations and stuff want them. But I don't think that I haven't seen the news put any of them out. So as long as the smaller channels didn't, but we all know that won't happen. Missing applesauce? I know. I hope he writes more too. They were funny. My name is Brian Koberger, and I'm not getting the service, or I'm not getting what I need at service. And then he said that they forgot some of the stuff in his food, and he's not getting a nutritional diet. Well, you're vegan in a prison. Good luck. I don't know what to tell you, buddy. Start eating meat. It's not real meat they're giving you in there anyway, so just pretend it's not, His handwriting, we're going to go over it, Purple Daisy, actually. I need to write that down. I wanted to do that tonight, and I forgot. We're going to go over handwriting analysis for him, because I need paper. There's some paper over here. I think I exit out of it. I think I exit out of the tabs on accident. I accidentally hit the X or the red circle if you're on a Mac. Because there's a guy on YouTube that does handwriting analysis, and I thought it would be kind of cool to read over it, and then I'm going to try to read it and keep it all in my mind, and then go to Brian's handwriting and see if we can see any certain slants or certain curves. We know that he has the D, the devil, or was it felon's D? So if you write a D, and I don't know if it'll show because the camera, but okay. They showed it on Banfield one night, and I thought it was interesting. So if you write a D like this, let's see, now it looks okay. You can't see because, but where there's where the circle doesn't come together. There we go. We'll get this. We'll get this down one of these days. I shield the front, but I don't write my D's like that. It's called a felon's D. And he's I don't know. He said, I guess because felons write it like that. But I don't know if all felons do. That's not all felons. I don't write my D's like that though. I write them with it you know what I mean? It connects. Mine connects. Yeah. Well, Scotty, his writing gets worse when he's you could tell when he's nervous, anxious, or something like that. Because the way that he signs his name, on the chalk or the whiteboard at the school, you could tell it's his handwriting, but it's not good, but it's clear at least. And in some of that stuff, it just wasn't even cleared. Yeah. Oh, that's Vincent. Vincent has good handwriting, though. He's left-handed. He has good handwriting. It's better than mine. He says mine looks like John. He's like, you have the worst handwriting. I do a combination of cursive and print. I don't know why I do. I do. No one would ever probably be able to try to steal my signature or anything. Well, you can steal the signature probably because it just looks like chicken scratch. I always been sent to do the felon's D. He'll be like, I'm not a felon. Did they? Thank goodness, Kitsy Cats. I won't go out of this room if they didn't. She said, oh, SUB OU. That's good. Because OU is not very good. Yeah, I think that'd be interesting too. He looked like he wrote that during an earthquake. He did. Dealing with mom stuff. Oh. I put a picture of my mom out in our hallway on a little bench the other day. I haven't had a picture of my mom out in like years. And I'm like, why don't I have a picture of my mother out? Hey, Heidi. Yeah, me too, Purple Daisy. I've done it ever since I was a kid. Like, I mean, not, ever since I was like a teenager. Yeah. I have the worst handwriting. I don't know what it is about it. That's so bad. It's not that bad. No, it's pretty bad. I'm looking at my handwriting. I'm like, no, it's pretty bad. I'm not crafty. I'm not one of them. Like, I don't write girly, bubbly or whatever, bubble letters and stuff. So I think that's all I have for you guys for tonight. It's going to be a little shorter of a live. I am going to come on tomorrow and do a live, of course. I have some Idaho stuff I want to do with you guys, and I want to do that handwriting thing. I also have, we have some other cases. I want to go back to Long Island. So last night, if you were here last night for the live, say I commentated through that whole video last night. Do you remember we watched that CW and it was the Rex Heuermann documentary? I was talking so much that in my head, in my brain, I was going, Tanya, mute yourself. You're talking too much. Like, I thought I was like ruining the experience for people because I was like talking so much about it. So, but I still kept talking. Well, I wake up this morning. I don't even think it was this morning. I think it was last night. Yeah, it was last night after the live. It got blocked. And I was like, what? Like, I didn't get in any trouble. I just got blocked though. Like, but I was like, I commentated. So I wrote them and I might fight this one. I'm pretty upset about this. I mean, I know the video wouldn't have gotten a ton of views, but that's not the point, right? The point was it was a fun live. It was like we had fun with it. Like we had we had great conversation in the chat. We were talking about the case. We were talking about just like digging deep into the case. And then we were like watching we were just watching that documentary, but I was talking through the whole thing. Like, it wasn't even like I was pausing every 2 minutes. I was pausing every 2 seconds. Like, yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, I'm going to try. I'm going to see what they did. So, yeah, they blocked it. Yep. It has like a big red. So I had to private the live because I was afraid that if I didn't, it would mess with my analytics for tonight's live, like having that blocked. I don't know. So I just privated it. But if it lets me and I'll like it, if it unblocks it, I'll unprivate it. I know, it was a lot of fun, wasn't it, Crystal? I had so much fun. Like, it was like a good live. Like, I don't know. Like, I have fun with like our Idaho lives and everything too, but it was just different. It was like we were just covering a different case, and there's just a lot to learn. And hey, guilty of crime, good to see you. And it was just like it was a bummer. Like when I got off here, I was like, that's a bummer. Like, I was like, man. So that's why I woke up this morning also and did a pre-recorded video, because I was like, okay, maybe that'll make up for last night's video, which it didn't. It didn't. But it's okay. I was just like, dang, when that happens, just like, darn it. That's why I didn't even try to do the 2020 episode, because I was like, I know my limits. I normally know my limits over here. But I know I commentated during that whole dang thing. that whole video. And because I was learning stuff, and not just learning stuff, like then I knew stuff, and I was excited to tell you guys that I knew it. And I'm just like, dang it. And Tom was in here having the best time. Tom was like, I'm a local. I'm like, Tom's a local. I love that. But I think that's all I have for you. I was going to say something else. I forget. Oh, I don't know if you guys saw my community post today, but every time Tanya has an opinion on anything at all, anything at all, anything at all, I get told not to have an opinion. So I'm just like, dang. And I'm like, what did I do? Because they tried to say that had copyright content in it, like that I did. So it's trying to say that I didn't transform it or make it my own, but we did. That's what, like commentating is. That's what YouTube is commentating over videos, right? We paused, we stopped, we talked. So, but I'm glad that I said my opinions today. But yeah, I'm like, okay. But I mean, someone had to say it. Someone had to say it. It might as well be me. I've had that typed up for about 40 different times, and I was like, I'm just going to press the send button. Vincent wasn't here. That's so sad. I'm so bad when he's gone. Thanks, Scotty. I mean, really though, I did make it my own. I'm just makes you feel blessed for the mom you had, Like when I make it back to her, after this life, someone remind me. I think I'll remember, but someone remind me if you're up there before me or you get up there a little after me, say, hey, go tell your mom thanks for everything she did for you. Because dang, my mom does the best. And I'm going to go thank Vincent, actually. Golf snaps. Thank you, Vincent, for not coming online and talking a bunch of crap about other people. Crystal. Vincent's always like, what are you doing? He always just knows. Like he must know when I get quiet and I'm like doing this. Because I don't really text a lot of people. So he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, writing a message. Oh gosh. And now she has to clean up ice cream sandwich. We bought a rug today. I've never put a rug under a bed with the bed already put up. I'm going to tell you, this is how much Vincent loves his dog. This one right here. I don't know if you can see her. I'll put this one right. Oh, nope, you can't see her. She's hiding. She's down there though. She's sleeping. That's Araya Lee. And Araya Lee she's our girl that likes to fight, right? She won't fight with that bed though. It's one of those beds that it's on the floor. Like it's one of those where it's like you have like the storage underneath, but it like the base of the bed's pretty much on the floor. Like, right. And she won't jump on the bed because hardwood floor, she's afraid her claws aren't going to grip, so she's scared she's going to slide. Well, this has just become a thing. She takes my blankets, my throw blankets off the bed, and then she jumps up on the bed after she has the throw blanket on the floor. So then I got my throw blanket that I love, whichever one it is, on the floor. And then what if my feet get cold? I want, so me and her will be fighting. I'll be like, Raya, don't you do it. Don't you do it, Araya. And she'll like slowly take it off the bed. So last night, I saw that they were having a good sale on their carpets at Target. And we went over and Vincent got her one today. So she has something to grip her little paws on when she jumps on the bed. Just one of the reasons why I love them. And now hopefully I don't trip on it tonight because I'm not supposed to have throw rugs, but I really wanted it to. So, and the cat was laying on the one we got for the hallway. I'm like, what are you doing? So they got a new spot. So now she jumped on the bed today without the blanket. I was so proud of her. I'm like, your daddy got you this. Oh, and then tomorrow we have to go out of town, but I should be back for tomorrow night's live. I never forget I have sweets nearby. Me either. Do I have any nearby? No, I don't. but I do have a Milky Way in the fridge that's calling my name. I forgot to put those in there. I'm gonna go have one. You guys, I'll have to tell you about my day tomorrow or something. I had a day. My nail broke, like just this part. I don't even know, like it. And then what else? It was like 3 things happened, all within like 20 minutes. It was me picking up the bed. I'll think of the other ones. The other ones were. It was like little. It's like little, like little things. It's like really. Oh, I ran out of my lotion. It's just like little things. Like, these are first world problems over here. But it was just like, I was like, what's going on? It does look like a 3rd grader wrote it. It does. Actually, I think a 3rd grader might be able to write better. But yeah, his handwriting is pretty terrible. We should write him a letter. We should write him a letter and just tell him, how he sucks. We'll send him this picture and be like, can you sign this for us and get this back to us? Because that's the one I want an autograph on that one. Oh no, Crystal. Hey, Mary Beth, we're just getting ready to get off here. Well, I hope you guys all have a great Sunday tomorrow. Trying to think. I think I'll probably be on like later in the afternoon. I don't have like I have some stuff that's fall in there, but I haven't gotten anything new yet. I really need to. Maybe I could do that by next month. I'm trying to think. Yeah, let me write that down. I'll get with the accountant. I hope I don't get any of that stuff that's going around. I'm gonna mask up. Not me. I don't want to. I don't need it. I haven't been like sick in a long time, and I don't want to be, knock on wood. But thank you guys for all coming in tonight. I appreciate it so much. I will be back on tomorrow evening, and we will talk some true crime. That's what I was going to do. Tomorrow I might do a members only live because I'm going to decorate in here, like not like a bunch, but I can put that pillow in here. I have 2 pumpkin pillows this year. Yeah. But there's one at Target that's really ugly. Like it's so ugly that I want it. It looks like something that your grandmother would want, like your grandmother's print. Like I don't even know how to describe it. I'm gonna have to pull up a picture. It's pretty ugly. But I'm like, Vincent, look at it. It's so ugly. I want it. It's like ugly. It's an ugly pumpkin. I'm just reading the chat. Not like you guys can't see me, but. Well, I'm going to jump off here. I'm going to go see if Vincent's awake. He's probably sleeping. The dog's asleep. Mia's down here on the bed tonight for once. She's on the ground. She took Ariah's bed. But thanks for hanging out with me. I do appreciate it. Like I genuinely appreciate everybody that comes into the chats every night. And you guys I wouldn't have my channel without you. I mean, I wouldn't, right? And I just want to let you guys know that I don't take any of you guys for granted. I don't take any of you guys for granted. So thank you guys for being here tonight. I appreciate it so much. I did put a few things on the community wall today. I can't really remember exactly what I put. But I was in the writing mood this morning. So I was just writing. I did some polls and stuff. So I did a poll on like what time would be a good time to come live. You guys can always vote on that poll. I think I did for today, but you can always vote on that and that'll let me know what time you guys like for me to come on. So I'll see you guys all tomorrow evening. But if you're a member, I'll probably see you during the day tomorrow. If we don't do it tomorrow during the day, we'll definitely do it. Nope, we're going to do it tomorrow. Because Monday Vincent works in here. We'll do it tomorrow. I'll figure it out. We're still figuring all this stuff out, with him working from home. It's only been a week, so we'll get it down whenever we can. But I thank you guys so much for being here. Oh, no, not Nash. That's fine. Make sure you do, Nash, or I won't come find you. Oh, Magamama, the babies need you, the fur babies. Well, I'm going to go get mine some cookies and some cat treats. But I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Have a wonderful night and have a wonderful Sunday if I don't see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it away. Tonight, we gonna let it away. Tonight, we gonna let it away. Just like the sunrise, we gonna let it away. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now.